Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Good to see everyone. Good to be here in a physical meeting. I think we've been missing that for a while. Maybe just to get a sense of the people here, how many of you are running your own business? Just maybe a show of hands. Okay, great. Just good crowd. Today, I basically just want to talk about impact investing and looking at companies that will drive positive and social environment impact in what they do. Okay. Let me see if the clicker is moving. Great. So when we talk about investing, impact investing itself, so we like to maybe show a little chart, a little comparison in the sense that they did this survey in Africa itself, right? So Africa had received a lot of funding in terms of donation to build the economy itself and betterment of the country and the people. So as you see, what they found out is that as the funding goes up, right, the GDP per capita, the percentage of increase doesn't correlate, doesn't grow as fast as it is. Whereas that's why I think a lot of times when we talk about donation and putting aid itself on aid itself, it kind of sometimes doesn't give the same effect in that sense. So it fosters dependency. It talks about it's distort markets in that way. And they put funding is important, aids are important, but sometimes this will happen. They misalign incentive if there's value in scalability and the sustainable impact. So because it's that dependency of how much aid you can raise and all, and encouraging to bring kind of move the people to be more dependent on countries that will provide the aid itself. The dependency will grow. So today we want to talk about a little bit different in that sense. Instead of aiding people, we want to actually focus a little bit on businesses itself. I'm glad to see some of you run your own business in the sense. The impact that you have is actually quite important because it provides, I think, employment. It improves the standard of living for a lot of people that you employ. And it generates revenue for the country, right? And transforms society itself that you're in. And in addition to that, right, for business itself, it actually provides opportunity and innovation to create how people live. A lot of times businesses will come out with things that a lot of consumers may not even know they need, right? So entrepreneurs, businessmen will come out with a new trend and kind of make that change itself and drive that change in how people live in that way. And I think there's another point that that businesses has the power to do is bring issues and tensions up to general public in that sense, because when you have the brand, you have the following of the consumer itself. Issues that are important to you will also resonate well with the consumer as well as you highlight things to them and to be more environment friendly and how you take position on how you want to bring your company forward and how you impact the earth and the surrounding as well. So those things are some of the impact of businesses that you can make. And I think I want to give a little bit of attention on the SME itself. I want to talk a little bit about why is SME important in that manner, right? So in Malaysia itself in 2021, even the pandemic, the number of SME actually kind of is still at 1.2 million. It kind of grew in that way. And it takes up about 97% of that's the registered establishment in Malaysia, a big majority of it, and it employs close to half the population of the country itself. Of course, the definition of SMEs is manufacturing. It's 50 million and below, and if service sector-wise, it's 20 million. These are not small companies. These are relatively big in that manner. and the impact the SME have in the country is actually tremendous in that manner. So when we talk about impact investing, how can maybe just draw back a little bit in terms of making an impact, right? I think if a company can run sustainably with a business model that works, right, and you have the right heart and the motivation to make change, positive change, if you combine these both together, it's basically you're creating long-term impact that will cause transformation, because the company will continue to grow. As the company grows and the impact that you make with the right vision, right motivation, the impact will naturally grow to a bigger scale in that manner. So that's why business is important. And of course, there are challenges. When you talk about businesses, there's a lot more things to juggle. And as businesses start, there's always this phrase whereby the valley of death. A lot of times when they're trying to discover and establish themselves in the business, in the SME world, there is this period whereby you're trying to find your product market fit, trying to find your first adopter, your customer space, and trying to establish to a certain scale. That takes time. And a lot of times those are tough times, right, to establish, and you have to have enough to actually sustain yourself through that, and not only to also build that traction as well. So the high failure rate is always something that it's hard for a lot of businessmen to overcome. And of course, if you're running a business itself, there's always that pressure to conform to ways of some people who run businesses to make it easier. And it didn't help that COVID happened as well, and it has a lot of impact on businesses itself. So with all these challenges itself, that's why I think Mustard Seed, one of the reasons why Mustard Seed was actually formed. Basically, we wanted to look for businesses that are running with a set of values that to make positive impact in the community and environment itself, and we want to invest in that itself. And so I think one of the things that we look at is we want to do is not only investing. I think I stepped. So one of the things is we want to equip these entrepreneurs with the right worldview on the values itself, and also connecting them with the right investors and experts and mentors, so that they can actually guide them through these challenges, and also challenges not only in terms of when during the ups and downs of the business as well, during good times, during bad times. I think all of us still have different challenges in that sense. So we want to actually journey with them in that manner. This is basically the set of values that we put up. So we want to empower ethical businesses to transform the culture of marketplace itself. From the company standpoint, if you run a business with a certain set of values, the impact, the change that you have transform the marketplace is even multiplied in that manner. And then, of course, we want to invest and nurture entrepreneurs to grow in 4 key areas. So basically the purpose, the why of what you want to do, why you want to run the business, the people, that means the people that you employ, and also in the community that you're in, the planet in terms of the environment impact that you want to do. And the last thing is also profit. So profit shouldn't be a taboo even we run it value-based. Profit is important in the fact that you want the company to be sustainable and grow. As your company grows, going back to the fact that as your company grows, you are able to make a bigger impact in these areas as well. Okay, maybe a little bit of background on the people that the core team that we have in Mustard Seed itself. So it's a collective of people with different experience. Some have run successful businesses on their own. They have built their own companies and are able to bring it to quite substantial size. We also have professional individuals who have led MNC companies. And also we have Dr. Chris Chan here as well, seasoned investment banker. We have Kahui, who's a trainer, workplace ministry. YL is private equity, has been for 20 years. And myself, I came from a bank, general 20 years in banking itself, and subsequently went to entrepreneur ecosystem builder in a sense. And we have an advisor, Mr. Daniel would be a spiritual advisor, just to make sure that we are on the right track in a way in consultation with you. So a vast, from very different dynamic, very different point of view, I think that diversity in this manner would have be great. I think one comment that I got for this was that I need to have a female in there, which we take note. We took note of it, and yes, diversity in experience. Yes. So I think Mustard Seed, what we want to do is basically build an environment and ecosystem that will be able to allow these entrepreneurs to flourish, and we can't do it alone. We won't be able to do it alone. So that's why we look at different parties, different people, who plays different roles and collaborate with them to create that environment, the ecosystem that that this entrepreneur will be able to grow the business, not only grow the business, but also continue to make that impact as well, and to stay on the right track and journey with that in that manner. So we have basically, we have the training portion, and then with the training portion, we have the mentoring community and the investors and the venture building portion of it. So when we talk about training itself, value-based entrepreneurship training, we partner with an organization called Incubator, whereby they have been around for 5 years, and their main focus is mainly to actually help train and build strong foundation for entrepreneurs to build the businesses in the right manner, in a way, based on the value itself, and not to forget what's the reason behind why they start the business and how do they sustain in that manner. And it's basically a collective of entrepreneurs, CEOs that will be able to gather together to train these people to transform the business. Then in the mentoring community itself, we want to tap into the experience of different mentors that we find in mostly the church environment, and also, I mean, we have a lot of resources we are not specific church, we are not just tying to any specific church in that manner. Even in the core team itself, all of us come from different churches, and we wanted to allow to tap on this expertise that we find in church itself to help entrepreneurs in areas whereby they may find that they have challenges in, and it will be always good to actually have someone with not only the expertise and skills to actually help provide perspective, but also to have the right values as well. The values are aligned so that the perspective and the advice or the sounding board would have a certain, would carry additional value or guidance in that manner. And we realized that in a lot of the churches, the various churches, there's an abundance of expertise. It's just finding a way to actually collate them and to gather them in this manner itself. All right, good. And then, of course, when we talk about investing, the investors are important, right? So basically, we need to get the right investor on board and to kind of align with them in terms of what we want to do. And the investment that we put in, it's basically patient capital in that manner to allow them to, these companies to grow, not only to look at just the return itself, but also the impact that it's bringing. And the other thing that we highlight is that this is not a donation, it's more of an investment. So when you talk about investment, there's definitely an aspect of return that we're looking at. But we are aligned in that sense that the returns are not the usual return that that they can expect from the other VCs or PE in that manner. So because we don't just look at the returns in terms of monetary point of view, but also the impact that it brings to the community, the environment, in other aspects as well. And then on the venture building portion itself, the other thing about it is that as we speak to these companies, as we speak to this individual, this entrepreneur itself, we find that a lot of entrepreneurs in this stage requires a lot of hand-holding, right? Because of the stage they're in. And we're more than glad to do that instead of just investing money into this company, because sometimes capital is really not just the only thing that, some of them, they'll be very easy to find capital as well in that manner, the right investor, but it's always looking for or finding the right investors and finding the right partner that are aligned in their values and are willing to journey with them. I think that's important. And we want to be part of that to help this company to grow and to make the impact that they intend to make. Yeah, so that's more about what we can do in terms of the ecosystem and what how we will guide and journey with them. In terms of who are we looking for, because resources wise, we have to be very mindful of who we work with as well. So we also kind of have certain criteria in that sense. And this is a little preview of what we look for when we speak to entrepreneur itself or we review a company. So first of all, we will always look for the right people, finding the right person. And we talk about right person, we look at basically the heart, the head, and the hands. So heart is basically what's the motivation of starting the business? Is there a higher calling in that manner, in that way? So head-wise, in addition, when you have the heart, we also want to know that if this person would have the experience, in terms of running the business, because we want the business to be successful as well. Hands-wise is the commitment or the things that the skin in the game. So basically, have they put their own money into the companies and invested into the companies, or they have invested how much time into their lives into the company as well? That will be put into consideration as well as we review the company. And in addition to the person itself, of course, we want to review the business, whether this is a viable business, is the business model workable, and what's the USP and the usual stuff, whether it's a viable business that can be scaled and to grow as well. And of course, thirdly, we look at the impact that it has, not only about the impact that it can make now, but also the potential impact that it can make as the business grow, either in the area that they're in or the community or environment impact that they can make as they grow their presence and grow their businesses. So basically, that would be it. And we're more than glad to have you all reach out to us. And these are my contact details. And just give me a call, send me a message, can have coffee. And I think a lot of times even when we speak to companies that may not be the right timing, a lot of these things are a lot about timing as well, right? So a lot of companies, entrepreneurs that we speak to, it may not be the right timing for us to invest in them now, but we are more than glad to actually speak to any of you and just understand where are you now and what stage, and more than glad to even make connection even though you don't invest in you as well. But yeah, give me a call, give me a text. More than glad to have a conversation. Thank you.